Good morning. It is Karen McMahon here, Journey Beyond Divorce. I am back for day 8 of our live. I'm just giving Instagram a moment to catch up with us. Today, we're talking about infidelity and divorce and how to survive. And we have so many clients who first faced the shock and devastation of their spouse cheating on them. And so it's really such a double storm. And so I really want to acknowledge that if you're in that position, if you have recently found out that your spouse has had one or multiple affairs over the course of your marriage, that requires a tremendous amount of gentle kindness and attention on yourself and support to navigate through it, because divorce is so overwhelming in and of itself. But finding out that you've been cheated on, that there's been betrayal, feels so much like a gut punch. And talk about shock. If you're in this space, and especially if the betrayer is wanting the divorce or trying to push you forward, this is an opportunity for you to really set boundaries, to honor yourself and what you need. And so the first thing I want to say is everything that you're feeling, you're going to be in shock. Your mind is going to be going at a million miles an hour and thinking about what happened, who the other person is, what they did together, how long it's been going on. And your mind is just going to be grappling for answers, and answers that you probably don't even really want, but your curiosity is killing you. And so there's that. And then there's what's going on in your mind, and then there's the brokenheartedness, the shock, the devastation, the sense that this person, no matter what issues we've had, was supposed to have my back. This was supposed to be the foundation of trust that I was standing on. And to find out that that is broken is really unsettling. And so first and foremost, slowing everything down, regardless of what the other person wants, is really important. That you begin to explore what you need and go at your own pace in doing so. So the first thing is you need support, and you actually really would be best with therapeutic support. To find a therapist, I actually have a colleague of mine who specializes, her specialty is infidelity and sex addiction of spouses. And so she's an individual who swims in these waters all the time. She has an incredibly kind, compassionate understanding and process for helping people through betrayal. And so if you're looking for support, by all means, just ping me in the comments. Just drop the word support in, and I will see to it that I introduce you to her. And so that's that early stage with a therapist, preferably with a therapist, is where you're going to begin to process everything that you're feeling, everything that you're thinking. And then whatever that conflict is at home right now with your spouse, they may be regretful, they may be apologizing, they may be asking for another chance, they may not. They may be telling you that they're in love with the other person and that they're moving on. So we have seen just every variation of this. It may be that it's happened more than once and you're dealing with multiple betrayals. All of this requires you to take care of yourself, to set boundaries, to find therapeutic support, and to begin that process of processing. And processing can be done by writing and journaling, absolutely. In this case, because it's so traumatic, and it's it's much like divorce. It's like you're drowning in your emotions. You really do need a lifeguard to help you get your head above water. And that's where a good therapist, preferably a therapist who specializes in infidelity, can help you with the processing, with how to begin to manage your mind a little bit so that you're not tormenting yourself, and to process and release what you're feeling. And so crying and crying and crying a river is something that is incredibly cathartic. And if you're in a situation where the betrayer is judging you or not allowing you to do this or pushing you forward with their desire to either mend or end, learning to set really firm boundaries, not worrying about them and what they want, and really taking care of yourself right now is going to be vital. And the other thing about it is you can't think clearly right now. So entering divorce, there's a tremendous amount of practical, logistical things that require your full mental capacity and attention. And when you've just been hit with betrayal, that's impossible. And so you're in shock, you're in denial, and again, that time and space. Now, time and space is going to be different for everyone, and divorce takes a while, and so it's okay. It's okay to say, I'm not ready yet. I've had numerous clients where their spouse, the betrayer, wanted to, let's hire a mediator, let's sit down and talk about finances, and they just weren't there. And so if you need permission from somebody, I just want to say that you have 100%, 1,000% permission to go at your pace and to set the boundary that you're not ready to have these conversations yet. You're not ready to make these decisions yet. And if you're the one who's moving fast, who wants to have the conversations and make the decisions, I would really encourage you to tap into how capable you are of doing that right now, because sometimes what we'll do is try and change our outer circumstances rather than sit with the discomfort of what's going on inside. And so if you're, it certainly makes sense that you would want to move out of the master bedroom or have them move out, that you would want your own space. So there are baby steps that make really good sense to begin to take, but those bigger decisions of engaging in these big, long-lasting divorce decisions, you really want to make sure that you have 2 feet on the ground, that you have a clear mind, that you can really process and work through these decisions before you enter the divorce process. So we've talked now about just the shock and the giving yourself the space and the time, and the importance of getting emotional support and processing and healing, and how hard it is to think clearly in those early stages. The next thing that one needs to address is how to heal. Excuse me. And I think one of the hardest things is it's hard enough to heal when the other person is acknowledging and apologizing and wanting to make it right and fix it. That is its own journey. That's not easy. If you're in a situation where you're not getting an apology, you're not getting an acknowledgement, and in fact, you might even be getting blame. The marriage was wrong for these reasons, and you haven't been a good partner for these reasons, and so I went and I did that thing. That's even harder, because here, healing and getting on the other side of it sometimes has to be done without any acknowledgement from the other person. And so how do you do that? How do you do that? And so many people say, I can't. Without acknowledgement and apology, I cannot heal. The danger of that perspective is you're now taking your peace your future peace, and you're handing it to the person who betrayed you and saying, in order for me to get over this and have peace, you need to do something. And that's always a very dangerous thing to do, because you're out of control. You're relying on somebody who's clearly not trustworthy to fill this peace for you. And so it may be that you need to process and journal and talk about it, and the term surrender comes to mind. And so, and I'm going to say the word forgiveness, which is a really, really hard one in these situations. And so surrender and forgiveness are never about letting the other person off the hook, right? Surrender and forgiveness are always about you cutting those ties that are binding you to feeling devastated, bitter, resentful, things that are keeping you down. There's the saying we've all heard that unforgiveness is like you drinking poison and waiting for the person on the other side of the table to die. And so you really want, it's a journey. You need to be patient with yourself, and you need to have the right guide. It can be done. And so if you have a partner who's not going to support you in your healing, having the mindset that you can't heal doesn't serve you. And so really working with your therapist and how you can do it. And there are mock conversations that you have, and there's journaling that you can do, and it will begin to diminish that without relying on the other person. And it's really important to avoid self-blame, to avoid self-condemnation, especially if your spouse is complaining about how you showed up in the marriage. And so it may be, and I will say that I see this a lot, that often when there's infidelity, there's brokenness in the marriage. It is never an excuse. A broken marriage, difficult marriage, challenges in a marriage is never, ever, ever an excuse to go out of the marriage. It's actually the courageous thing to do is to sit down and have a conversation. And if you want to end the marriage, you end it. To go outside and do something on the side is really so out of integrity with the relationship. And so my encouragement is wrap yourself in self-compassion. And if you have a hard time with self-compassion, invite your friends and loved ones who have compassion for you to support you in this. And this would be a time of receiving. Make sure that you get all the support you need. If you need daily support, if you need support from a number of different people to be able to work through this, be kind and gentle with yourself, be self-compassionate, not self-condemning. And get support early. The more this festers, the harder it's going to be. And so if you found out a month or two ago and you haven't yet engaged in therapeutic support, I would say do that right away. And then the other support, as you're looking at whether they want it or you want it, when you're ready going forward, that's where divorce coaching does something different than therapy, in that we can really support you in minimizing conflict, taking a look at, how am I communicating? What do I want to communicate? What is my goal of communicating? So that everything that you're doing is moving you in the direction that you want to go into. And certainly with all of this overwhelm, working with a divorce coach who can really help you figure out first things first, and what you do need to attend to once you start the process, and what doesn't require your attention right now that you can back shelve until you have more capacity and more healing to do so. So I would really encourage you to get support early. And in terms of the divorce support, it could be that day-to-day emotional, it could be how to begin to learn your legal rights, or how to begin to create safe space and private space within the marital home. And so as I wrap this up, I just want to encourage to take action, right? So we're talking about infidelity and divorce. We're talking about the shock and the betrayal, how to begin to heal. how to determine your pace and make sure that you're taking care of yourself. And so I would say a couple of action steps: write a list of everything you're thinking about. You could write a list of all of their wrongs. You could write a list of all of your questions. Sitting and writing is really helpful. So journal about how you feel, but write a list about what you need to do, what you want to ask about, who you want to reach out to for support in terms of friends and family. Just start creating an action plan for yourself. If there is a local group or a virtual group that you can go to specifically on infidelity, I highly recommend it. My colleague does have groups. So again, if that's something that you're interested in, by all means, drop the word support in the comments and I will make sure to hook you up with her. Enlist friends, work on your receiving muscle, and hire the necessary support so that you have what you need. So my heart goes out to you. I support you. I encourage you. I hope that this was valuable for you. And I'll be back again tomorrow talking about divorced dads and how to protect your kids through the process. So until then, you take care.